Issues shall not be discussed in open meetings except as provided for by federal, state, and local law and policy. References to an employee must be made using the terms teacher, administrator, or employee. Persons who refuse to follow accepted rules of conduct may be removed from the meeting. Person speaking must address the Board of Education rather than the audience. And at this time we have listed Pastor Floyd Rose, Black unemployment. Next will be Darren Neal, and then after Pastor Neal will be John Robinson.
We need some answers tonight. Somebody got to tell us something tonight. Somebody got to tell us we're going to get back with you or something. We ain't heard nothing. I wrote Mr. Sherwood, never heard from him. Why don't they, y'all, somebody got to tell us something tonight. Not tomorrow, tonight. Just call the police, because I'm not moving. Somebody's got to tell us something tonight. Just tell us what you're going to do, what you're going to do. You can't keep mistreating black folks like that.
Madam Chair.
Murdering old people. Robberies. Crimes that frighten all of us are being committed in this community. The people that frighten us are crying. They're crying because they don't have jobs.
With a Master of Education and a Master of Divinity, a Bachelor of Criminal Justice, a long history. The railroad's seeking for me to come back tomorrow. But I stayed here and fight. This entire room wants us to believe that black folk have never been discriminated against. Because he had a pen in the side, but I can talk. Something's got to get done. And I intend to find out every nook and cranny behind this system. If somebody got some money to look the other way, I'm going to find it out. If somebody didn't do what was right, I will not stop till I find it out. We ask y'all, we keep asking y'all, just...
Pastor, 5 minutes.
I stand by the same thing Pastor Rose said. Whatever you got to do, you got to do. Because I'm at the point now where black folk can't keep being treated this way. Our children are being killed on the street, and you want us to believe that it ain't because they black. Ain't nobody in this town getting jobs, and you want us to believe because it ain't because we're black.
As simple as that. Just imagine, this is your magazine. You the one got this here. Just imagine what's coming next. It's not a game. It's not a game. I was in Elite Planning for the Civil Litigation that lasted 12 years. Manuel Noriega was in the basement. My jury for Jersey Football out of Miami. It's not a game. It's not time to play. Now, all you have to do is do what they're requesting and asking you to do. There's nothing complicated about that. If you don't do that, that means we've been lied to. Simple. Plain and simple.
Excuse me. We need some answers tonight. Somebody got to tell us something tonight. Somebody got to tell us we're going to get back with you or something. We ain't heard nothing. I wrote Mr. Sherwood, never heard from him. Why don't they, y'all, somebody got to tell us something tonight. Not tomorrow, tonight. You just call the police, because I'm not moving. Somebody's got to tell us something tonight. Just tell us what you're going to do, what you're going to do. You can't keep mistreating black folks like that.
Madam Chair.
I'll tell you what really helps. The contracts around town are fairly distributed now somewhere, at least on the city's behalf. But this contract is the one in which these men just simply want to come in. They've even said, we just want to come in and get a piece of the pie. I got angry because society feels that African American nation is an issue here. It is an issue of discrimination. It is a system that has never disappeared. It's been revamped, reformed, it is still alive and well.
We need some answers tonight. Somebody gotta tell us something tonight. Somebody gotta tell us we're gonna get back with this something. We ain't heard nothing. I wrote Mr. Sherwood, never heard from him. Well, I don't know, y'all, somebody gotta tell us something tonight. Something more tonight.
Public participation.
Participation. Again, regulations for public participation. 30 minutes will be set aside at the Board of Education meeting for public comment. The time limit may be increased at the board's discretion. Persons who wish to speak at a meeting must sign in prior to meeting, stating name and topic of discussion. The following rules for addressing the Board of Education shall apply. Up to 2 persons may speak on each side of an issue. Each speaker shall be limited to 5 minutes. Personnel issues shall not be discussed in open meetings except as provided for by federal, state, and local law and policy. References to an employee must be made using the terms teacher, administrator, or employee. Persons who refuse to follow accepted rules of conduct may be removed from the meeting. Person speaking must address the Board of Education rather than the audience. And at this time, we have listed Pastor Floyd Rose, Black Unemployment. Next will be Darren Neal, and then after Pastor Neal will be John Robinson.
Thank you very much, Dr. Keeson. When my little boy was in his bassinet one night, asleep, he woke up and he started crying. My wife hunched me in my side and said, Floyd, the baby's crying and it's your time. I pulled the cover back, got up, turned on the light, and I walked over to the bassinet and I leaned over and asked him what was wrong with him as if he was stumbling. And he just kept crying. I checked his diaper and it was dry, but he kept crying. I turned the light back off and got back in the bed, and my wife hunched me in the side again and said, Floyd, he's still crying. I said, well, I don't know what's wrong. What did you see about it? So she got up, and as only a mother could do, she took Billy's Saul in her arms and placed him gently on her left shoulder and jumped him. But the more she jumped him, the more he cried, and that cry eventually became a scream. And then she took him down, set him on the foot of the bed, and checked his diaper. It was dry. But then she discovered that there was an open pin sticking in his little side. We learned that night that Billy didn't want to cry any more than we wanted to hear him cry. He didn't want to disturb his mama and daddy any more than we wanted to be disturbed. But he was hurt. And he had no other way to tell us he was hurt but to cry. The crimes that frighten all of us, breaking and entering, mugging old people, robberies, crimes that frighten all of us are being committed in this community. The people that frighten us are crying. They're crying because they don't have jobs. They're unemployed. And those who have jobs have minimum wage jobs, and they can't take care of themselves or their families. And we all know that. Evan Neal and I went out to the job site. We've been told repeatedly that they're hot, and all we need to do is just go out there. Well, I 2 days ago. There was an officer there, and we drove right past him and went all the way to the back, and we found 2 men who said that they were in charge of the work site, but they didn't have any jobs. And I said, well, I was told that if black folk just came out here, they could get work. He said that there was no work to be had. Now, I really don't understand that, I'll be honest with you. I don't understand that. This board made a commitment to this community that the people who live in this county would get first, would get jobs first. Well, as it turned out, if you look at the record, most of all of this work, most all of the contractors are not from Lowndes County or Valdosta. They're from Macon, they're from Atlanta, they're from Fayetteville, and other places outside of this county. And according to my figures, nearly 60, perhaps 70% of the work is not being done by local contractors. There have been 2 black men in my office this last week. One of them said that they were told that he was told that he had the lowest bid, but he still didn't get the job. Another young man said that his understanding was that most of the work that he was doing was to pay at least $18 an hour. He was getting only $12 an hour. Now, listen, we've been straight with you all. I have written to Mr. Sherwood, never heard from him.
Counsel, excuse me, in 5 minutes.
I understand that, but I'm not gonna quit. You do whatever you have to do. If you need to arrest me, you do that, but I'm gonna get through tonight.
Well, let me ask the board, you
Up to
all
them.
pass the roll your time.
Let
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we don't know what else to do. We begged, we pleaded. We are not conducting any demonstrations because we wanted to believe that you want to be straight with us because we've been straight with you. But somewhere down the line, we've been lied to over and over and over again. And you just can't expect us to keep going this way. And I'm going to tell you tonight that we're not going to do it. We're just not going to do it. And Brother Neil is going to come. He was with me when we went out. He is the lead investigator and the assistant to the president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. And I think he's scheduled to speak next.
Yes, sir.
Thank you all for your time.
Reverend Neal.
You know what angers a man who has honorable intentions and honorable desires for his people. I could easily leave Valdosta and walk away. I'm retired. I have no dog in this fight. I've been around the construction business with the railroad for a long time. Watched contracts be given out. Been a part of the process. I could leave today and never look back. With a Master of Education and a Master of Divinity, a Bachelor of Criminal Justice, a long history. The railroad's seeking for me to come back tomorrow. But I stay here and fight. This entire room wants us to believe that black folk have never been discriminated against. I'm angered. I'm highly angered. Because one of the things I've watched across the construction business occur is that the system has always maintained that there were either no blacks capable of doing the job, they could not be bonded, their educational level was diminished, continued to say that there's no discrimination in the system. And yet when you look over the history of Valdosta, you've yet to see, from this point backwards, blacks in control of anything in this town. Ever. Period. The sad part about it is, they will come to our community and seek out the most educated and elevate us to positions and give us just enough more than the average person has so that they're silenced and will never stand for their own people. We have a school board that is predominantly black. I saw you sit here a moment ago and linger over making the decision, and it is the first time in this building that I've ever watched you linger over the decision. When a decision is to be made before the person who asks for a motion or a movement to be made, Mr. Lee's already said so moved. And I've watched this board always unanimously vote the same way, the same time, the same station. We put you here so you would objectively challenge what was wrong, systematically tear down what was wrong, but morally do what was right. Period. We did not come here because a bunch of black people showed up and said, give us work because we're black. Y'all stood up in this room and told the black community, if we supported everything you did, you made a binding agreement that is binding here in the state of Georgia, and I intend to pursue that. See, we've been doing it from a civil standpoint. One thing I've learned about the construction business is that money makes everything go around. I won't accuse you of that in here tonight, but I have seen systematically across the system, somebody's palm always gets greased to look the other way and let the contract manager do as he pleases. I left here the last meeting believing that you, with all your heart, intended to make sure these men in this room said, if you're just, we won't even fight no more. Just let us work. That's all they asked. And you promise that you do everything in your power to make sure we go to the work site, they tell us there ain't no jobs. We come talk to you, you say there is. We go to the subcontractors, they tell us to go to the contract manager. We go to the contract manager, he tells us to come to you. These people have children and their children want to eat. I got 6 children that I pay. I go broke every month paying tuition for 6 children because I'm scared to put them in the public school. Yeah. Now you don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. Scrape and scratch to make sure they have everything they can. Making a meager pastor's salary, which ain't a whole lot. But I learned something about my God. Paul said, for we all know all things. I found that as long as I'm doing the right thing, my God will provide for me, and I have been provided for. But I stand in the gap just like Isaiah did for these people here tonight that can't speak for themselves. As Pastor said, that baby could not talk because he had a pin in the side, but I can talk. Something's got to get done. And I intend to find out every nook and cranny behind this system. If somebody got some money to look the other way, I'm going to find it out. If somebody didn't do what was right, I will not stop till I find it out. We ask y'all, we keep asking y'all, just...
Pastor, 5 minutes.
I stand by the same thing Pastor Rule said. Whatever you got to do, you got to do. Because I'm at the point now where black folk can't keep being treated this way. Our children are being killed on the street, and you want us to believe that it ain't because they black. Ain't nobody in this town getting jobs, and you want us to believe because it ain't because we're black. And then you put in the newspaper that black folk just showing up just to get work because we're black. We shook your hand in honesty and have always shook your hand in honesty. And I'm insulted. I'm insulted right now. I'm hurt. You know why I'm hurt? Because I stood in this town just the other night and stood in a store with an Indian man who looked at me, who talks to me on a daily basis when I'm dressed in clergy attire and calls me sir. And because I was in a t-shirt and a pair of shorts, he looked at me and treated me like crap because he didn't realize who he was. And when I challenged him on how hard my people have worked to try to make this country a good place, he told me it's his turn now. His people are taking over now. That's what he said to me. And I'm angered by it because I stand here with people. I don't stand here tonight just for blacks. I stand here for whites and for blacks. I fought for my country, for white and for black, not for just blacks. I'm talking for blacks because they don't have a voice and nobody won't listen. And I stood here in honesty. I called Mr. Sherwood, I didn't get a response. We wrote letters, we didn't get a response. We talked to the judge. What does it take? These people just simply say, we want to work. Now you run around saying black folk won't work. Just want to lay up in Hudson Dock and all these other places and just get welfare. That's not so. You can give me the benefit of whatever. If the football coach can stand up and talk for almost 20 minutes over football and y'all ask questions, why can't I?
Council, your time is up. We're following the rules. Thank you. Mr. Robinson.
Imagine, just imagine, on page 52 it talks about the New Battle High School. Imagine what you just heard. You just heard the facts from both of these gentlemen. And it's time now to quit playing the games and get down to brass tacks and brass business. It's time for you to do what you're required to do. All they're saying is they're expressing their feelings, how we feel. Simple as that. As simple as that. Just imagine, this is your magazine. You're the one trying to say it. Just imagine what's coming next. It's not a game. It's not a game. I was the lead plaintiff in a civil litigation that lasted 12 years. Manuel Noriega was in the basement. I judged the judge out of Miami. It's not a game. It's not time for play. Now, all you have to do is do what they're requesting and asking you to do. There's nothing complicated about that. If you don't do that, that means we've been lied to. Simple, it's plain and simple. And all people want is to work to the demand is simple. Just to pay. Thank you.
Can I get a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss personnel?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Adjourn.
Excuse me.
Sir.
We need some answers tonight. Somebody got to tell us something tonight. Somebody got to tell us we're going to get back with you or something. We ain't heard nothing. Now, I wrote Mr. Sherwood, never heard from him. I don't know, y'all, somebody got to tell us something tonight. Not tomorrow, tonight. She just called the police, so I'm not moving. Somebody's got to tell us something tonight. Just tell us what you're going to do, what you plan to do. You can't keep mistreating black folks.
Madam Chair, if you would, Dr. Rose, what we would do is review the information that you've given us tonight. And
That man just
Dr. Casey,
came up with the same list that he swept them down.
facility, chair, and let's see what, if anything, can be done to assist. Subcontractors. Can't make anybody, hire anybody, let's see. Create a dollar, regards to the ones that has a contract, to see if they need help. Let's do that.
Mr. Lee, it's my understanding that this board can do what it wants to. All y'all have to do, and you read the contract, all y'all have to do is tell the major contractors that you want them to sit down with us and find a way out of this. Y'all can do that.
Let's get the
That's all
dollars.
we asking you to do.
Let's try to get a
Do what's
dollar.
right. All right. Thank you very much. So I'm gonna hear from somebody.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
You can tell them what I just told them. I can't, the board, I can't go sit down alone. People's property, won't sit down with me. You come back in. That's fair enough. That's what you just told me. This up.
We're being tossed on. Sub telling us one thing, sub telling us one thing, contract managers telling another thing. We can bounce back and forth, ain't nobody dealing with us. We go out to the work site, the man dismisses, tell us stay in the meeting. I know they quit.
The way I understand it, the subs, that's what
Understand that too?
that should be
Subs pushing us to the point. They sending us to the contract man. The contract man send us on, and they all send us back to you, which we know you gonna send us back to them.
We go to the job site and lock it
I
up.
told Pastor Rose before we went in, before we got to the job site, I said, Pastor, you don't tell us that here. The talk was 5 minutes. He said, we're in a meeting. Looked at me, I said, I told you.
Yes, sir.
I just don't feel what I read. I have it right there. Don't tell me something. I would make sure it's not the list I can go sure. They took me to the city. I told them, I said, folks, you have somebody call every single one. I've been told that happened. So I have to.
You know what he told us? Watch this, watch this. How long he tell us it would take us to verify that list?
Verify the list.
When we talked about this, he said 2 weeks.
Yeah, Jones told you. Yeah, you did say two.
Who'd you talk to?
Brett,
Brett Diamond?
no,
The other Brett.
Brett Sutton said he hadn't verified the list. Said take us 2 weeks to do that. I said, well, now you had the list a month.
Brett Diamond, who is in charge of this, is the man.
Now do you see what I'm talking about? Brett Sutton said one thing, Brett Diamond said, the subcontractor said one thing, the contractor said another. They sent us to you, you sent us back to them. We bounced around. You know, and you know, part of this thing, we're getting what we want out of it. Because I'll tell you what really helps. The contracts around town are being fairly distributed now somewhere, at least on the city's behalf. But this contract is the one in which these men just simply want to come in. They've even said, we just want to come in and get a piece of the pie and we'll walk away and hands down. It's easy. This is an easy fix. It really is.
I'm telling you what I promised you last time, and I stand by that, and I will make sure that that happens. Get you to those subs, making sure that list is active. I'll look into what you're telling me about the city and the subcontract.
It's been the same since 2008 for the last 6 years, 7 years.
You now, if you won't talk to me into this, you won't call me. You know, not in the group. You won't talk to me, you call me. Whatever Neil got my number, they got my cell phone number. When you get to the bottom of this, you'll find out that's exactly what I want. If you have any ideas how I want this to be different, you realize that you and I are on the same page. That much I can tell you. I can't change the world, but I can make sure that those people,
They told me you were in charge.
I ain't. I'm a facilities committee chairman, that's what I am.
Okay.
Superintendent, Madam Chair's in charge.
Okay. All right, let's see.
That'd be fine. He's got my phone number. Hey, if I don't answer, leave a voicemail. I have it. That fair enough? Fair enough?